plaintiff, Michael Spencer, is married to the defendant, and he claims their wedding day was great, but it soon turned into a nightmare. Michael claims after their reception, the defendant and her family physically assaulted him, and he ended up in the hospital, so he's suing. Defendant Sierra Vaughn Spencer says from the time she and Michael first started dating, there was always a lot of drama from other women. On the night of their wedding, Sierra admits Michael was attacked, but she insists she only slapped him one time.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Okay, Sierra and I met in 7th grade. We went to high school together. We've known each other for about 15 or 16 years. We had, after high school and a couple years of college, we found life put us back together, and we ended up having a couple children, and decided to get married and do things the right way.
Good. When did you get married?
April 28th of 2019.
Okay.
And
how did things go?
The day was great. The day started off great. We had the traditional ceremony. My family was there. Her family was there. A great time. Everybody enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. And then after our ceremony and everything, things kind of took a turn for the worse.
That night?
That night.
How so? Tell me what happened.
Behind our venue was the hotel that I was staying at. I left the venue with our son. Prior to going to the hotel room, I was asked to come back and help with some things. I was exhausted, had a long day, did a lot of traveling prior to getting married, bachelor parties, stuff like that.
That's what I was about to say. Don't blame it on nothing but that bachelor party.
Like he's working a lot.
Yeah, working a lot and all that. You was getting high and freaking the night before marriage. Go ahead.
So I was in Vegas and LA.
Vegas. Well, you was really freaking. Yeah. You was high powered.
I wish I was.
You went wow. You went to both Sodom and Gomorrah.
I took a nice little trip.
It was supposed to be a 3-day trip that turned into a week because he missed his flight.
He couldn't wake up after the third day.
My flight was canceled. You're right.
I know everything happened. I know. Ma'am, he couldn't wake up after 3 days. Don't hold it. He had to take enough with this stuff he was doing in that 3-day period. He needed another 3 to rest.
So then you may understand why this story transpires into what it did.
So
the night of his bachelor party or later?
Well, the night of the wedding.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Now, you should have been done the night of the wedding. I hope it didn't have anything to do with that. Right. Yes, sir. Let me hear you continue.
So, like you said, I was done. I came back to Chicago, got everything together, went to the venue. We had our wedding. Everything was beautiful. I left with our son to the hotel room, and I never made it back to gather any items or anything that she instructed me to do. I fell asleep. So
I had a weird experience at my wedding, so I'm just smiling. I ain't saying nothing. And it's because probably the night before.
This is Go ahead. So as I was asleep, I remember being awakened abruptly. She woke me up like slapping me in my face. So she woke me up, slapped in my face. I woke up startled.
This is like the night after the reception.
This is 1 in the morning, the day after, this same night or the morning of the reception.
I wasn't slapping, Kim. I slapped you once.
Well,
not saying that
I don't think
okay.
Linda slapped me, but she shook me for like 5 minutes. Wake up! This is our wedding night. Go ahead.
You were dragging.
I knew I was.
I ain't do the same thing he did. He went wow. I didn't quite go that wow.
I was woke up and I was startled. I didn't know what I sleep kind of hard. So when she woke me up, I was trying to figure out what was going on. So I grabbed her and stopped her from slapping me, and we had an argument. She rushed out the room. The door was closed behind her. Next thing I knew,
you told me to get out the room. You told me to leave.
I asked her to leave.
Good.
There was banging to the door. I assumed that it was my wife coming back to the room. It turned out to be one of her sisters.
All right, let me get some background from her, and then we'll get to what happened when the sister came up.
Okay, so he was right about, we met each other in middle school, and I really wasn't too interested. I mean, I always thought he was cute. And we were kind of like on and off, like even though we weren't together in high school, he still tried to get with me, even though at the time he was in a relationship and I was in a relationship as well. After I graduated college, we kind of got together. It was like a one conversation thing, and then we were just attached to the hip. Yeah. I didn't.
What year was that?
This was in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't understand that with that came a lot of drama from other women, and especially like baby mama drama. I loved him so much that even though I was dealing with that, I didn't. I never thought to end the relationship, but there were a lot of people around me telling me to end the relationship
because of his cheating. Because of
there were messages, text messages, and everything coming to me, saying that he was being unfaithful to me.
From who?
From
the type of people. Your friends, the people who saw him.
People like around us that we knew. Baby mama's one psychopath.
Well, man, you should expect everything from them.
After our ceremony and everything, things kind of took a turn for the worse.
At night?
That night.
How so? Tell me.
Plaintiff Michael Spencer is married to the defendant, and he claims on their wedding night, she and her family members assaulted Michael, and he ended up in the hospital.
I'm going to discount that totally, baby mamas. So far I haven't heard anybody that sent you text.
Well, I mean, this was like stuff that was happening. I saw stuff in his phone.
Who sent you the text?
I saw stuff in his phone.
Okay, you're not going to answer that question.
I really don't know. They were like anonymous.
Oh, okay.
Sending like through anonymous, like making fake pages.
So you certainly can't rely on anonymous texts. Could be the friends that are jealous of you. Yes, go ahead, because you have a handsome boyfriend. And so what happened with the incident the night of the wedding when you came to the room, ma'am?
Okay, so the night of the wedding, when I came to the room, it was like all of those emotions kind of like built up just from everything that I was receiving from other people, and I was just upset with him. Like, we got up to that point, and I thought that a lot of the whole marriage, everything, like, is this even real? That's what I was asking myself. Like,
what part?
I don't think I was as happy as I should have been. Like, I feel like the whole planning process, everything should have been about me and him and I, but there were other people and other factors that kept getting in between it.
Okay, so other people made you unhappy about your wedding.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, when I noticed that he wasn't there to like help assist me with getting everything, cleaning up the venue and everything, I'm like, he was supposed to come back. I was just kind of overwhelmed, and I had
You all rented a place where you had to clean up yourself?
That's what I said.
Well, we did it, but we had stuff that we bought there that we had to take back with us.
Well, that's not cleaning up.
I mean, you giving up. I needed assistance.
You keep telling me things that are not making sense, so I don't know how you can expect me to believe you. Go ahead, sir. Okay. So what happened when she's told me she was unhappy and angry.
Yes.
She's admitted to that. Go ahead, that night.
She slapped me out of my sleep. I asked her to leave the room. Then I heard knocking at the door. So I was assuming that, maybe she sobered up a little bit, and and was coming back so we can just continue our night together. But it turned out to be one of her sisters. I asked her sister to leave the room several times. She was very intoxicated, by the way. And
Who was this? Her sister?
Her sister. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to her to put my hand on her shoulder, to kind of give her some comfort as I explained that I wanted her to leave the room.
Comfort.
And you can call it whatever you want. And I was struck. So I was struck
by the sister.
By the sister. So I stopped her from swinging at me, and then I felt somebody on my back, and that was Sierra. Sierra was on my back, and her sister was in front of me. I don't know what was going through her mind at the time. So I brought her sister in front of me, and I held them both down. And then there was a gentleman in the room also. He began to he put me in a chokehold, So he was choking me as I was stopping them from attacking me, and he was pulling back at me, pulled me back away from them. I had to let them go. They scrambled off to deal with him choking me, which is the reason I was eventually hospitalized.
You were hospitalized?
Yeah, I was hospitalized.
What age? What happened to you?
As the gentleman was strangling me, there was air that escaped my esophagus that was on my chest, so I had pressure on my chest. So I was rushed. I went to Christ Medical, where I was put under, and put an endoscope down my throat to see if I had any hole. And thank God that I didn't. And
yeah, they gave you anesthesia and pain control.
Yeah, I was in the hospital for 4 days.
And they don't give that just because you walked in the door and what you said.
Correct.
They observed something.
Correct. So after that, her sister ran off, and I was standing on her dress. So when she took out
whose dress?
Her sister's dress. Mm-hmm. When her sister took off, her dress ripped. I heard it rip. Long tearing of material sound. And she left the room. As she left the room, I turned around and confronted the gentleman that was choking me. And I'm like, hey, man, you know, everybody's intoxicated. You choking me. I'm trying to defend myself. So I'm telling him that. He's going off. And then I look in the corner of the room, and there's another man rushing the room. So he attacked me. I was fighting him, and the gentleman again put me in a chokehold as I defended myself. I reached out to her to put my hand on her shoulder to kind of give her some comfort as I explained that I wanted her to leave the room.
Comfort.
And you can call it whatever you want. And I was struck. So I was struck
by the sister.
By the sister.
Plaintiff Michael Spencer is married to the defendant, and he claims on their wedding night, she and her family members assaulted Michael, and he ended up in the hospital.
Ma'am, why don't you tell me what happened? What you had to do with it.
Okay, so I really can't deny, everything that occurred. I did not know that my sister was going to come into the hotel room. I don't even. Back? No, I didn't.
All right. Did you ever get on his back?
I was trying to hold him back because they were kind of.
You did come back. I thought you had left.
Kind of like I did.
I thought you had left.
I did.
So you had to come back to hold him back. Why do you keep lying?
No, I
asked you. No, I was very clear. Did you come back? No. That's when I asked, did you jump on his back?
Yes.
Yes. Well, you can only jump on his back. I said, did you leave? Yeah, I left. Then I jumped on his back. You can only jump on a person's back that you left if you come back.
Right.
All right.
Oh, yes, I did come back.
That's enough, man, for that. We got that.
Okay.
So tell me, after you were on his back and the others jumped on him. So why don't you think you should pay for the pain and suffering that you contributed to on his back?
Well,
you did that.
Well, because I feel like he owes me for a lot of pain and suffering as well.
For what?
I may not be telling the full capacity of the story, but I definitely feel
all I need to know is that you assaulted him.
Yeah, at that point, yes, you're right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What else you want me to know? All right, $4,800 is your judgment. Your wife admits to assaulting you, and during that process, several others jumped you, so much so that you had to go to the hospital, be put under through anesthesia and then continue with pain medicine. Certainly that deserves that. Otherwise, if it wasn't physical, husband and wife can't sue each other for the most part. Judges won't recognize that, just fussing and arguing. However, when it turns physical, the married couples, one spouse can get a judgment if they're the victim of the other one. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
It's never good to act out of emotion, and it's never okay to deal with things under the influence, and that I love you unconditionally.
Plaintiff Jennifer Micah says the defendant is her daughter, and she got custody of the defendant's child after calling DCFS on her for drugs. Jennifer claims she sobered up until she got with her current fiance, a known drug user, and now Jennifer believes she's using cocaine. She's suing her daughter for a credit card bill and a phone. Defendant Amanda Micah and her fiance, Brett Duncan, say Jennifer claims to be perfect, but she's been married and divorced 3 times, and Amanda was always there to pick up the pieces.
Start with you.
Well, my daughter, she really had a bright future ahead of her. She was an honor roll student in high school, and she even worked and was able to maintain those grades. But until she started dating a bunch of losers that had drug involvement. So
what grade or what age was that?
It was probably 2014, 2015, which would put it about 22, 23 is when she started having major issues. 2015, she got into synthetic marijuana. By 2016, the problem had gotten so bad that I had to call DCFS on her, and I took custody of her son. By 2018, 2019, it still wasn't clear.
What was she using by that time?
It was synthetic marijuana, but the boyfriend at the time was lacing it with other drugs. So when I made her drop for me, there were 5 other substances besides the synthetic, and it didn't even pick up the synthetic. So I called DCFS, and at that point, I got custody. 2018, 2019, they gave her a couple years for her to square it away, and she still wasn't able to get a place and everything else. So I adopted my grandson and took custody of him. He's been with me ever since. So the end of 2019, 2020, she had another child, and she started to get it back together. She became sober, she got a job, we got her a place. I helped her out as much as I could. And, I was hopeful, I was proud. I was like, okay, we're back in this. And from there, she reunited with Brent. Brent is an old-time family friend. Mm-hmm. They started hanging out, and they started dating, and from now I hear they're engaged. But Brent is a known drug user. She was an honor roll student in high school, and she even worked and was able to maintain those grades. But until she started dating a bunch of losers that had drug involvement. So,
what grade or what age was that?
Defendant Amanda Micah and her fiance, Brett Duncan, are being sued by Amanda's mom, who claims she got custody of Amanda's son as a result of her drug use.
Known by who? Everybody in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Everybody who know it?
Well,
a lot of people know he's...
Years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, he was drunk and high and on drugs, and he crashed my son into a tree.
In the car?
In the car.
He was driving and your son was a passenger?
And my son was a passenger. So, I mean,
they find drugs in the car, or they found him to be high?
They tested him.
And he was high?
Yeah.
Or found drugs? What type of drug do you recall?
I know that marijuana and cocaine were involved, according to my son,
all right.
and alcohol.
And you think it was over the limit, alcohol over the limit?
Yes.
All right, let me hear from them. They're over here squirming and itching to talk. So let me hear from them. Ma'am?
So I want to start by saying that I do love my mother. However, she claims to be perfect when she really is not. She has been married and divorced 3 times, and me being the oldest of 4 children, I have been the one who had to be there to help her back up on her feet, help her with the kids and everything.
Kids?
My 3 younger brothers. I have 3 younger brothers.
How old are they?
There's one that's 26 that I pretty much raised.
You changed his diaper?
I didn't really change his diapers, but my mom was a single mom working, so I was the one who was making sure that he got to school, got home, his homework was done.
Starting at what age?
I want to say I was probably only 8 or 9 when this happened.
8 or 9, you were taking care of how old?
He's 2 years younger than me. So he was 6.
2 years younger?
Yes, he's 2 years
younger. At
younger.
age 8, you were doing what for your 6-year-old brother?
I was making sure that he would get to and from school,
How?
making sure that he just left with me, came back home.
He walked out the door with you?
Yeah, walked out the door with me. I would walk him to school.
And you figured I was taking care of him?
And then I'd bring him home. I'd make sure his homework gets done. I'd make sure he get his dinner.
You would help him with his homework?
Yes, I would help him with his homework. I was pretty
much.
much.
And then you would fix dinner?
Yes.
All right. Please, let's move away from that. Now, do you have anything to say? She says you're a current dope fiend. Are you or are you not?
No, Your Honor, I am not.
Have you been one?
No, Your Honor.
Never?
Never.
All right. He said he's never been one. He never tested positive after an accident for cocaine?
No. The only thing that they did get me on the night that she is talking about is driving intoxicated. And that's it. They never came up or did a drug test on any of them.
All right. And your girlfriend standing with you, Amanda, do you know of her having a drug issue?
She does not.
Has she had one in the past?
She's been 5 years sober.
And
in the past,
were you all
yes, Your
together
Honor.
over 5 years ago?
Yes.
What type of drugs was she using?
We haven't used them together.
I didn't ask you that. What type of drugs was she
smoking,
using?
No, that was it.
Smoking what?
Marijuana.
No, what kind of drugs was I using?
She's trying to tell you what else.
No, I'm trying to tell him you're asking him what kind of drugs I was using back 5 years ago.
Oh, you didn't understand that?
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, you thought I was talking? You couldn't hear me.
I misunderstood you. Yes, Your Honor. What from Maya by knowledge?
No, I was talking about her.
Okay.
I don't know why she whispered
knowledge?
to you.
From
You seem to be understanding what I was saying to you. Once again, did you know she was getting high 5 years ago?
5 years ago?
Before getting clean, yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what did you know of her to be getting high off of?
The only thing I knew of was the marijuana.
Okay, that's all you've ever known her to use?
Yes.
And is that all you've ever used?
In 2016, I was addicted.
Period.
No, I was addicted to the synthetic marijuana at one point.
All right, and that's what you mean by the marijuana? That's all you thinking?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Defendant Amanda Micah and her fiance Brett Duncan are being sued by Amanda's mom, who claims she got custody of Amanda's son as a result of her drug use.
Did you know that synthetic marijuana is more addictive than regular marijuana?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, good enough. Long as you knew. Yes.
When she was 5 months pregnant, that would have been about January of 2019. DCFS tested her and she came up dirty for cocaine.
Is that true?
It is, however, they did retest me and the retest
You just told
came
me
back
you've never
positive.
even done anything other than synthetic marijuana. Be quiet. Or are you high today?
No, I am not
Okay,
high.
have you
I've
ever
been sober
been
for 5
high?
years.
Have you ever been high?
Not in the past 5 years. I'm
Okay,
5
you
years
haven't.
clean.
Who are you raising your voice at? I'm the only one that can
I'm
raise
sorry,
my
Your
voice
Honor.
in here. Sound like a dope fiend, just like I thought. I know dope fiends from a mile away. And time she coming into my, I've never done any drugs other than marijuana. That one time, yeah, when they tested me, I did come up. Have a good day. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff. I'm sorry, ma'am. Until she's ready for help, I can't help her. You saw how she responded to me when I started talking about drugs to her, so she's not ready.
That's
when she's ready, bring her back. In the meantime, keep her away from you. Have a good day.
All right, let's go.
Amanda, I really do love you, and I really hope that you reach deep down and you figure out who you are and lead yourself instead of letting all these men lead you. I really do, because you really have a lot of power in you that you do not take and you do not bring up to the surface, and you have it. believe in yourself.
The fact that you brought up that I tested positive for cocaine when I was 5 months pregnant, when you know it was the baby father who dosed me. I'm done. I am hiring a lawyer. I am coming from my son, and I do not want anything to do with you. I want you to stay as far away from me and my daughter as humanly possible. And if you thought I was that much of a danger, pick up the phone and call DCS on me now. Have them come out and drug test me.
Maybe it's God's will for you to go solo for a little while.
Well, there you go. Call DCS, have them come out and drug test me. That'll prove once and for all I'm not on drugs.
Plaintiff Cynthia Grant says her son dated the defendant before he passed away, and the defendant claims he is the biological father of her daughter, the co-defendant. However, Cynthia wants to know for sure, so she petitioned the court for a DNA test. Defendants Erica Thomas and her daughter Jakaya Anglin say Erica knew there were two men who could possibly be Jakaya's father, including Cynthia's son, but she claims they both took DNA tests and both were negative. Erica believes Cynthia's son tampered with the test, so she hopes to find out the truth today.
Ma'am, you are asking that a DNA test determine whether you are the grandparent of which young lady? Jakaya? Okay. And so, why don't you tell me about it?
I am Cynthia D. Grant. I am the mother of the late Demetrius D. Groves. In the mid-90s, I would assume that Demetrius and Erica Anglin at the time might have dated. And then later on, he brings home to me this bundle of joy, and her name was Jakaya. He introduced Jakaya to me as my granddaughter. As time went on, I would inquire about not, seeing Jakaya as much as I, as a grandparent, would like me being a young mother myself. Then he stated that she was not my granddaughter, which was so devastating because a mother knows if a child or grandchild is connected to them. It's just a sense that we have. And so it was heartbreaking. But like I said, I was a young mother. And so with my life, I just continued to do the things that I was doing. But I never lost salt. I never lost the opportunity to think in my heart that she was my granddaughter.
Now, how long after telling you and introducing her to you as your granddaughter did he come back and say it wasn't true?
It was probably within maybe months.
So months
within
later,
a few months, yes.
What did he say?
It was early on.
Yes. What did he say? What made him disbelieve that? And did he tell you why he didn't believe it anymore?
No, I mean, you see, Judge Mathis, he was young. I was also young. So when I did inquire about her not being my granddaughter, it was, just what he said. And
okay, you didn't say, well, why did you tell me that before?
Well,
what changed, son? How did you find the new what's the new information, son? You didn't ask? You said, okay.
I didn't ask, sir.
Okay.
I really didn't.
Moving right along.
Sir. Yes.
Okay,
so as time went on, he was accidentally killed.
What year?
And then
what year?
It was in 2008. His life went on a certain road pattern, and I worked all the time. Not only that, I raised other children at the time as well. But I never lost sight of her in my heart that she was possibly that might have been my granddaughter. I just maturely didn't research what I needed to know, as I have been trying now up to this day.
Plaintiff Cynthia Grant says the defendant may be her deceased son's biological daughter, but she needs to know for sure. So she petitioned the court for a DNA test.
You had a little more time, you retired and had more time to look into it. Or I can understand if you got a busy life with other children, I understand that. What changed
Yes, had a little bit more time. And I often would see her mom, you know, and
where would you see your mom
I would
at?
see her in passing, or, you know, where she might have worked, or just in general. You know, and even though it was not, you know, we would say legit or whatever, I still would claim her as my granddaughter. And often I would say, you know, take this to Jakaya, you know, I mean, just small amounts of money or something. So she was always there. And then at one point in our lives, we crossed paths, Jakaya and I was in the catering business. So I became a official caterer which happened to be her godmom.
Wow.
And I would often admire her, just her demeanor, you know, how she reminded me of my son and different other family members, you know, and that was drawing me even closer to her, wanting to know. I mean, it went on, Judge, Your Honor, to the point to where I want to say we kind of got a little closeness, but the uncertainty was still there. And I could see that maybe she would have maybe reached out more, but she's a very mature and articulate young lady, and very, very smart for her age and all the things that she's accomplished this far. I think in my heart of heart, she was not going to accept the fact to call me grandma unless she actually knew.
Okay, Miss Thomas, you are Jakaya's mother?
Yes, I am.
Okay, why don't you give me some background?
Okay, me and Demetrius, we were not exclusive. We were messing around, and I became pregnant. As I said before, we were not exclusive. So I was adamant about telling both parties that it's a possibility that they could be the fathers. So we took blood tests, and the first father was not the father.
Okay, go ahead. The first one was not.
Was not. And then me and Demetrius took the test. And in the meantime, between time, we took Jakaya to Cynthia. As Cynthia stated, she met her. She was adamant about Jakaya being her granddaughter, saying that she had certain characteristics of other people in her family. Well, as time went on, months went by, we got the results. They were also negative. And so I was in awe, like, how was that possible when the first father was not the father, or Demetrius wasn't the father? So I became skeptical, and sure enough, time went past, and I seen Demetrius at the mall, and he came up to me and said, if I ever needed anything, if Jakaya ever needed anything, to just contact him. So I looked at him, rolled my eyes, and walked away and said, "You're not the father." So that had always stuck in my mind. So even after that, I would see Demetrius, and he would see me and Jakaya in the car, and he would just stare at me. And then as time passed by, he was killed. Then we started I started going to the social, a venue, where my daughter's godmother owned. And Cynthia was there also. And I just saw her, as she said, she would look at her all the time. And I'm like, why is she always looking at you? You know, the test came back negative. So I began to believe that Cynthia knew more than what she was putting on. And I believe that Demetrius falsified the blood test.
Okay. Well,
because back then you didn't have, we had IDs, of course, but they weren't really adamant about looking at your IDs, and you know how they say people look alike, and
okay, but you took two tests. Those are the only two guys you were seeing. You took two tests, and both of them were negative. Okay, so let Jakaya give some testimony.
Plaintiff Cynthia Grant says the defendant may be her deceased son's biological daughter, but she needs to know for sure. So she petitioned the court for a DNA test.
Why don't you give me some background about yourself, young lady? I want to hear how life was for you. And your presumed grandmother said that, talked very highly of your achievements. And how old are you, to start there?
Well, I'm 24 years old. I have a son now.
How old is your child?
My child is 2.
Okay. So tell me how life was growing up. Were you a good student? She says you're very smart. Your presumed grandmother. You tell me. Brag on yourself.
Yeah, I was smart. I was always smart in school. I didn't really have to try. I always got good grades. School was never an issue for me. I went to college. I graduated with scholarships. I didn't really know much about college growing up because I just wasn't exposed to it that much. So I feel like if I was exposed to it more, I probably life probably would have been a lot different. But I say about my sophomore or junior year in high school, I started learning a little bit more about it, and I applied to scholarships, and I got all the scholarships that I applied for besides one. They were all academic scholarships. I put myself through 2 years of college, 1 year at SIUE, another year at SIUC. I also went to DAC for, I'd say, 2 semesters, and I played on the basketball team. I didn't finish college because it was too expensive for me to just afford it myself. But I worked jobs, and I got into the eyelash business. So I currently do eyelashes, and I'm an eyelash tech. I plan to take that further and go through school with that as well as an esthetician, and just see where that takes me.
Okay, you have your own business now, or you're going to start one in the future?
Yeah, I have my own business now.
Oh, good. All right, congratulations. Yeah. Great. And what are your feelings about all of this?
I'm really excited to hear the results, and I'm grown now, and he's passed away, so it's just more so for my son, because he'll get to know that side of his family if the answer is yes.
What has your mother been telling you? What has your mother been telling you over the years?
Over the years, she told me that the same thing that she's telling you, the same story. She thinks that it is him, and she thinks that he fabricated the DNA test and everything. So,
well, let's find out if you're related.
Tune in tomorrow when Judge Mathis will reveal the results of today's paternity test.